Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and here we have the second installment of the Countdown to Candle Day series, and today's video is going to be on like the basic tips and tricks and just like info videos, so just like the general logistics types of like the best way to navigate Candle Day. So not talking about the specific candles themselves, but like the logistics behind navigating Candle Day and what you should do on day one or day two, in-store, online, what's the speculated price. All that kind of stuff will be covered in this video, so if you are interested in any of that, stay tuned. But first, before we get into the video, let me just take a moment to talk about the new merch that has dropped on my merch page. My merchandise can be bought either in the link in the description down below, or there's also a link in my actual channel profile, and also a link on my Instagram profile as well. I did drop a whole bunch of like all I want for Christmas are candles, as well as some I Survived Candle Day t-shirts and sweatshirts on there, and use Candle Day for an extra 10% off for a limited time, so make sure you check that out. And now let's get into the video. So of course, Candle Day is like the big like Super Bowl event for all of us in the candle community. It's like the day we look forward to. It is advertised to be the lowest price of like the year in terms of candles, as in terms of like the actual like base price that you pay before coupons. There's some instances where you can do like you know, buy one get one deals, and if you have a really great coupon on top of it, it'll get really close to that price. Or they'll do other like pretty good like $10.95 deals or something like that as well throughout the year. But if you can use a coupon to get it down even cheaper, but I believe this is like the lowest like base price of the speculated $9.95, and then you can use a coupon on top of that. The date for Candle Day, it's usually always the first Friday and Saturday of December, so it's going to be the 2nd and the 3rd of December. Usually it is in stores both days, and then only online on the first day. So if you want to get candles at the price, normally you have to go in stores on the second day, because they usually have like a sellout by the first day of the candles at that price. So those are the 2 days and the breakdown of the in-store versus online. As for the hours for Candle Day, that is going to vary by your store. You will want to go on the store locator on the BBW website, or on the app, or on mobile. Usually like on desktop, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a store locator link, and you type in your zip code, and you can see all the stores around your area to see you know, what time they open. You can, those are usually correct, at least in my experience, but you can call the store the day ahead just to confirm and double check what store they open. It's usually the standalone stores that are going to open much earlier, because they kind of can control when the store can open, whereas some of the mall stores might be at the mercy of the actual mall itself. So the mall stores usually don't open as early as the standalone ones. So if you go to a standalone store, you will probably have an earlier opening time, and the opening time also kind of is dependent on how like populated or highly trafficked your cities are. So if you're in a large city with a ton of BBW and a ton of traffic, they're probably going to open earlier. So you definitely want to see what time you want to go. There will be a really long line, at least in my experience, maybe not at, you know, some of your smaller cities with lower traffic, but in like a moderate to big size city, there will usually be a line at every store, like starting right at the opening time. So for instance, at my store that opens at 5 a.m., I can get there at 4 a.m. almost an hour early, and there will already be a really small line developing within the first 15 to 30 minutes. And then from like 4:30 to 5, the line gets really big, and of course the line sort of continues all throughout the day, at least in my region. From some other experiences that I heard from other people, their line isn't that long, and they might be the only one standing there, and the line kind of dies down throughout the day. It just, your mileage will very much vary just by your specific location. So that's kind of like the general gist of how the lines work though, and they usually will be, if you're in a populated area, the line kind of like persists throughout the entire day, because they can only let so many people in at one time. Of course, we don't have the COVID restrictions like we did that one year, where they can only let a very small amount of people in, but they still usually limit the number of people in, because the stores still have a max capacity. So there will be a line to get into the store, but there will also be a line to actually check out as well. So expect to wait in 2 lines for Candle Day, because it is such a popular event. So that's what you'll want to do if you want to be there first. The advantage of being first at Candle Day is that you get obviously the run of all the candles that you want that are available on the first day. The issue is that if you watch my previous video, there's a lot of candles that come out later on during the event, and so they have these waves and priorities of candles where they can only put out some later waves of candles if the first waves of candles have already sold out, and they kind of have to get the green light to be able to put those out. And so you just kind of have to judge like when your store is going to sell out of the first wave of candles before the later waves come in, and the later waves just kind of depend on how, you know, traffic your store is and what their inventory levels are. So it's really hard for you to actually determine what you're gonna get, and you can't get all the candles usually all at one go early in the morning on the first day. You usually have to return later in the day on day one, or also return later in the day on day two to see some of those later priority and later wave candles. So keep that in mind. But if you're just looking for the generic usual candles that are always out, and any of the candles that are already in stores right now and already online right now, then those will be available on day one on hour one, and then you can have your entire pick of candles that you want without the risk of them being sold out or not available anymore. So that is the advantage of going to the store and lining up for it early, because there's a good chance that some of your favorite candles might sell out. But if you are looking for some of those more unique new ones that are poured for candles days, that are like, you know, saved for later waves and later priorities, then you will have to go later in the event on multiple days, unfortunately. Moving on to the topic of coupons, you can use coupons with a $9.95 price. I believe the only coupons that are available right now are going to be the ones that you get in the mailer coupons, so the printed coupons you get inside the mail. I believe the 10 off 40 is the one that's going to be valid right now for the Candle Day event, along with the boring free full-size body care item coupon, and I think those are the two that you can be able to use. There might be some other coupons lying around from the mail, different variations, but those are the ones that I know of. Obviously, the coupon is only a one-time use only thing, so you will have to, you know, sort of like figure out when you're going to use that coupon, or if you can get multiple of them from your friends, then check out for that as well. Let's see. Moving on, there's also a limit of 18 candles when you do buy your candles. It's loosely enforced. Some stores will enforce the 18 limit. Some stores will not. A lot of stores will just kind of like let you buy 18 in one transaction and then do another transaction of 18. Some stores just completely don't follow by the 18 limit. So your mileage may vary there, but the technical limit is 18 that's advertised on the email. So keep that in mind as well. Moving on to the topic of online purchases. So on the website, you can get to the website at 6 a.m. Eastern time is usually when it refreshes. On Friday morning is when the floodgates open for Candle Day. Usually like the tip or the trick is if there's like an online exclusive that you want for Candle Day, you can usually do the order while you're waiting in line in the store, and you can kind of do double duty there. If you can't get what you want in store or online, you can kind of like double dip there. There's usually a virtual line or a virtual queue, at least that's what it was last year, to get into it, so you might have to wait some period of time before you can actually get into the website. That's a way for them to sort of manage the traffic and the load on the website so it doesn't crash from everybody trying to go in at once, so keep that in mind. Historically, there has been a app access preview ahead of the 6 a.m. launch. I don't remember if it was even earlier in the morning, or it might have been even the night before as well, but the fact that the app is now nationwide, it's not as exclusive that I'm not really sure what will go on there, but usually you just watch out for your emails or log on to the app like the day before to see if there's any kind of like teaser or spoiler on whether or not there will be an early app access. Keep that in mind if you are an app member. Sometimes they do have an early access there. And finally, the last topic I want to talk about is buying candles for exchanges. So this used to be a strategy that a lot of people used to employ in the previous years before the exchange policy changed. So before, the exchange policy was a lot more generous, but because of people abusing the system and theft and all that kind of stuff that has really increased at BBW, they have changed the exchange policy. And so now there's very much a limit of the number of products and the value of products you can exchange or return over the course of so many months or so many days or whatever it is. And because of the new exchange policy, you might not want to do the like buying to exchange strategy that has been done before. So previously there are some people who would like just buy like just mounds and mounds and mounds of candles at the, you know, sale price to lock it in at that price, then exchange them throughout the entire year. Because of the new policy and there being a limit on the value of amount of stuff that you can exchange, you probably don't want to employ that strategy anymore because you will be stopped eventually at a certain point. So once once you hit the threshold. So keep that in mind. On a lower scale of buying candles for exchanges was oftentimes if you had like a coupon, like a % off coupon, or if you were in a store and you had to get to a certain amount, you might buy a few more candles to like buy on day 1 to then exchange on day 2. Or sometimes they'll put out new candles after candle day is over that you might really want. So you might buy a few extra during the candle day at the $9.95 pricing to be able to exchange it for when they go back to full price or a less cheap price later on when the new ones come out. But once again, you might not want to do that because of the the limit or the threshold. So there is still a certain threshold or limit that you can reach, but it's just the exchange policy isn't as generous or lenient as it has been in the past before. So keep that in mind if you are thinking of buying candles for exchange purposes, even if you're doing it from a light scale to all the way to like a heavy duty, like all throughout the year scale. There has been sales associates who have actually encouraged you to go buy way above and beyond what you might actually want to do. Like it was actually very much encouraged from the store associates themselves to buy way more above and beyond to exchange for later. Like it would be encouraged by many stores and many sales associates. So it wasn't like it was a legal thing, but obviously the policy is kind of like, subject to how you want to interpret it. So, I don't want to get into like the moral aspects of the exchange policy, but if that was a strategy that you employed, then might not be so wise to do it this year because there is a certain value or threshold that you will reach with your exchanges and returns at BBW now. So keep that in mind. And I think that's it for all the tips and tricks. Yeah, if you're in a like populated region, expect to wait in long lines. Like I've had to wait in a line for like up to an hour, I would say, at at a few stores throughout my past candle day journeys. So expect to wait in long lines. If you're in a less populated area with lower traffic, you might luck out and not have to get in a line, but the lines are very real, at least in my area, for both days. So yeah, think about that. And then also try to plan for if you want the later phase candles, then you probably will have to go in multiple times throughout the 2 days to be able to snag everything you want on your list, because it probably won't be available all at one shot in one go at one store. So keep that in mind as well. And I think that's it. So best of luck to you for Candle Day. Hope this helped out. If you have any other questions, leave them down below and we can all kind of help each other out. And happy Candle Daying to you guys. Bye.